Welcome to the Queer Confidence Podcast, the podcast to help you become your most confident queer self. I'm your host, he, she, they, Coach Alex Ray, and I haven't always been this confident. In fact, I used to be super insecure. And through this show, I want to share with you what's worked for me, my clients, and my guests so that you can become more confident. Welcome back, my unicorns. How you doing? Oh my goodness. I'm so happy to be here with you one-on-one today. Just you and me. I feel like I've just done a ton of guest episodes recently, and I love those. They're so fun, and I love talking with others. But I also really love the feeling of this intimacy that you and I get to have when it's just the two of us chatting, and I don't know, I just love that. Oop, hold on. Let's turn the air off so it's not on in the background here. Come on. Turn off. Let's go. All right. I'm back with you. Okay. I'm so excited to be here. We're going to talk about patience today, but before we do, we have some catching up to do, you and I. New podcast cover. What? Just casually slipping that in there. New podcast cover. Oh my God. Kira Worm just fucking killed it. And, I'm so thankful, too, for my photography background because I got to just have fun with a little Photoshop to enhance, like, with the horn and stuff and add a little smoke at the bottom. You know how I do. You know. It's so fun that I get to pull out those that creative stuff again. And, like, y'all, back to Kira. What in the actual fuck? That photo she took is stunning. Oh my God. It was a magical day of shooting with horses, real live horse. I mean, obviously they're real. With one of my friends, who's also one of my clients in the iconic queer mastermind, Amanda. Oh my God. So she does, I guess you call it equine therapy, horse therapy. I don't know, like therapy for humans, but using horses, you know? And I've been having a few sessions with her and they've been phenomenal. So good. And so we got to do that shoot and have the horses in it so that we could really have some real life fucking unicorns. So I'm in love. The old podcast cover, some of you all don't know this because some of you are newer. So that podcast cover is from, when did I start the podcast? 2020? Yeah. Like February, I want to say. February, maybe March at the latest, 2020 is when the very first podcast I had came out. It was called Brave Fitness, because that was the name of my company, my fitness and nutrition coaching company. And the podcast was clearly all on fitness and nutrition. And that photo fit it well because I'm there in like a Lululemon shirt flexing and looking much more gym bro-y like I used to look. And that was just not the vibe. And it hasn't been the vibe. And one of my friends, I think it was like nearly a year ago, he was like, you need to update this podcast cover. And I said, I know, but it's not time yet. Like, that's such a low priority. You all will enjoy the podcast and listen to it with an old, outdated photo. The title just needed to be updated to the Queer Confidence Podcast, and like, y'all can just deal with it, right? And it's funny because as I'm telling you this, I'm thinking, oh my God, this is actually so on topic today with patience. And we're going to bring in two concepts that we've talked about before, both edging and BDSM. But basically, that is exactly what I did there, is I edged with the podcast cover. I knew that I wanted to redo it, but I was like, it's not important. And so for other entrepreneurs who are listening, stop doing the things that are really not necessary for you to make money in your business and support people in your business. Like, my business is not around to have pretty podcast covers. That's nice, but like, fuck that. That is not important. It's like the least important thing. It's super fun and super amazing, but it does not make money and it does not help people anymore to have a podcast cover with a unicorn on it now than it did the other podcast cover. It doesn't make a difference. So stop working on like tinkering with bullshit in your business and get to the fucking work. And so, yeah, that's what I did. Right. And I edged myself for really a year, just holding back, knowing, you know, the time will come when I will update that cover and, it'll come in the perfect timing. And I wasn't concerned about it. And so I went on about my life. And then the perfect set of opportunities came along, you know, working with Amanda, being around the horses. We decided we wanted to do a shoot together. And then I was like, oh my God, wait, we're doing a shoot with horses. Hey, why don't we do a unicorn? And that'll be the new podcast cover. And then I can finally have that new art that I want. It'll be amazing. And here it is. And I'm so happy with it. It's so beautiful. Also, quick story. This is the longest intro ever, but you know, this is also good. So quick story about that. I just want to, because there's something I can teach you through this. Okay. So quick story about how I found Kira, the photographer. I didn't really find her. The universe introduced us in the most wild way. Amanda and I had decided to do a photo shoot. I think it was back in January or maybe February. No, because I think we had booked the shoot for February. So yeah, we must have talked about it like last year. And then in January scheduled the shoot for February. And the first photographer we had ended up falling through. And one of my best friends, side note, he was the #1 Instagrammer, like #1 most popular person on Instagram for the first couple years that Instagram was out before it became what it is today. So crazy. Yeah, Byron, Barnell02, BARNOL02 on Instagram. Go look him up. He's incredible. Anyway, so then he was going to fill in as our photographer. And then I went to Starbucks to do some work. It was actually, I think, for my ICF certification. Oh yeah, that also happened. I'm like fully ICF accredited now as a coach. So that's pretty cool. What the fuck has happened in these last few months? Oh my God. Okay, so I went to Starbucks to go do my test because it's a standardized test. That's 90 questions, I think it was. No, not 90. What am I talking about? 150 questions and 3 hours, something like that. Anyway, it was really long. And I am not a standardized test taker. ADHD is not complementary to that. So I love a noisy environment like Starbucks. It was perfect. And I could just sit there and study in my own way. And I highly encourage you to do the same. Strip down the rules of what you think you're supposed to do according to society and just go do your thing. That's it. Go do your thing. Your way, your best way. Okay, so I'm at Starbucks, right, in line, getting my drink. As I'm walking over to my table to go sit down and take this test, this magnificent unicorn of a woman looks up at me and goes, "Hey, I love your eyeshadow." And I was in like a full-on growlfit, gray sweatshirt, gray sweatpants. I think there's gray sweatpants. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Like drab. I was looking drab. But my eyes, y'all know how I do my eyes. They were looking amazing. And I said, "Oh my God, thank you so much. Usually I have a fabulous outfit to go along with it, but not today." And then I started walking away. And I felt this tug. It was almost like there was a rope connected around my sternum. And as I'm walking away, it was like, "Oh!" And I was like, "What? Oh." And I heard this distinct tug that, like, I knew what that meant. Hold on. Distinct message. I heard a distinct message, right? The tug. I knew right away what it meant. And it meant, "You are not done. Turn around and talk to her." So I literally, and it's so funny to hear her describe it. She said, "I watched you walk and then pivot." I just pivoted 180. I turned around. I walked right back towards her. And all I knew in my head was the conversation isn't over yet, and I don't know why. So I looked, she's on her computer, and I said, "What are you working on?" Not a normal question. I don't know. It's just, "Hi, what are you working on?" And she's like, "Oh, my website." And so I said, "Oh my God, what do you do?" "Well, I'm a photographer, and I do this stuff and that stuff, and I'm really getting into more like spiritual photography and doing stuff with um I don't know, just spiritual people and everything, right?" And I said, "Oh my God. Oh my God, we have to do something together. I would love to," right? And we talk, blah, 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 blah. I follow her on Instagram. I go and do my test. Okay. Then like a week later, Byron isn't able to do the photo shoot for us. And I'm like, "Oh, bummer." But I just met this amazing photographer a week ago in Starbucks. She might be perfect. She might be perfect. And I had seen her stuff and I was like, she actually could definitely be perfect. So I sent Kira a message and said, "Hey, we have a photo shoot in like 2 weeks. Do you want to do it?" And of course she said yes. So there you go. The point in that story, and this is how it relates to patience, is that clearly the universe had a better plan for us. Now, both the other photographers that we had been planning on using are incredible photographers. Incredible. But I really truly think that this shoot was what it was because we worked with Kira. I don't think that anyone else could have really brought it to what it was. And of course they couldn't. Like that's literally how things work. Your energy cannot be replaced by anyone else's, right? If I go into the room, I bring a vibe with me that no other human on the planet can bring into the room. And that's what Kira did. And that is why a seemingly random interaction with a stranger in Starbucks, by the way, she also had to leave the day after our shoot. She had a plane ticket already booked for the following day. So everything happened so ridiculously perfectly that it could not have been planned by any of us. There were too many moving pieces for anyone to plan it. And what you think you need to do when you're feeling impatient is you're micromanaging the universe. You're micromanaging your life. You're micromanaging how things fall into place. And you feel like it's all supposed to happen in your timing. And what you're not knowing is that there's a better plan. And right now, if it all went the way that you wanted it to, shit would not be right. It would have unintended consequences that you don't even know about and that you may one day know about, but you don't know about currently. There's their first story. Okay. And that's all from the cover, the Facebook cover. I mean, not the Facebook, the podcast cover. Oh my goodness. Okay, what else happened? So my move got moved. It did. My move got postponed. The plan is now to move at the end of April. I will keep you all updated on that, of course. But check in on Instagram. I'm pretty sure I will be moving at the end of April. And so that was the main thing that sparked my desire to record this episode for you, because I was feeling so fucking impatient and so fucking angry and so exhausted and annoyed. Another thing that happened was my Worthy program, like a couple episodes ago that we talked about. Yeah. So I postponed that. It's tabled for now. It's not available for sign up, and that's okay. It just is not the right time right now. From a business standpoint, like it was a failure. It's okay. No one came running to sign up. I had some people that were interested in it, but no one literally like paid the money, got in the door, right? And that's okay. We're gonna table it for now. The timing wasn't perfectly right. The timing was right for me to work through what I needed to work through in order to launch that program and advertise that program and talk with you about that program and be marinating my own brain in those concepts. But apparently it is not time for that program to be running. And I'm okay with that now. But I was feeling very impatient around that. Like, why? Why is this not, why hasn't this started? Don't you all want this? I want this. It's great. Come on. Come to my party. What the fuck are you doing out there? Let's go. Come on. Come on in. You want this. I know you want this. Ah. So there you go. I failed. And I'm okay with that now. I failed. Another update, Gideon and I went to Starbucks, the same Starbucks where I met Kira, and unusual thing. Oh, also another nugget that I learned about that story, Kira never goes to that Starbucks. She goes to a different one normally. So like she on this really weird whim went to that Starbucks because she thought she lost her AirPods there, and that's why she was there the day that we met. So like, y'all, I'm telling you, the way that the universe orchestrates things in our lives is fucking magic. And there's no way you could ever write like any kind of story that would be so perfect. Okay, back to Gideon. We went to the Starbucks 2 weeks ago today when I'm recording it. So I guess by the time it comes out, a little over 2 weeks ago. Anyway, my poor doggy. We were walking in the door of Starbucks and the door slams shut on his tail. I'm not sure what happened. It might have been the wind. It might have been whatever. It doesn't matter. The door slammed shut on his tail. I wasn't paying attention, like making sure that I had him all the way through before I let go of the door. And he yelped. I don't think anything of it. His tail's been hit in the door before. It's fine. Not that door, but other doors. Then I notice he's like tucking it under his butt while I'm ordering. I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? Come on. Like, what is that? What are you doing? And then when we finish ordering, I realize that there's blood on the floor. And my poor doggy, I don't know. Some of you might be queasy. And I want to throw up when I remember what it looks like. It broke his tail and there was blood, and that's all you need to know. And so we, I'm like, okay. So I get my decaf coffee and we walk out the door and I'm going, all right. Hey, anxiety. Hey, I feel you. And I'm doing exactly as I have given you all that framework of BDSM. I used that in this scenario, and that's what we're going to use today too. It's amazing how literally all these stories tie into patience, and we're halfway through the episode and I haven't even talked about patience much. I mean, not the meat of it. But Gideon getting his tail broken and cut, I immediately started feeling anxiety over it, right? Like, holy shit, my baby, my like, he's my dog, but he's literally my child, is bleeding, he's hurt, he's wounded. What do I do? And he has a ridiculously high pain tolerance. He was hit by a car a few years ago and I was living at my parents at the time, ran back to their house, jumped the fence back in the backyard and was like, I didn't do anything. He's fine. I'm freaking out though. My anxiety's through the roof. We're walking home. He's normal with a bloody tail, not paying any attention to it. And my heart is beating out of my chest. I'm like sweaty. I'm like, my throat is dry, like all the things. And I'm telling Siri to call the vet hospital. And let me tell you what, I wanted to fucking throw my phone across the road because I told her 4 times, hey Siri, call the thing, right? Oh God, now she's activating. Stop. The animal hospital. And she couldn't get it right every time. I'm sorry, I couldn't understand that. And I'm like, How can you not understand this? It's a fucking emergency. I'm gonna murder you. You are the worst assistant alive. Apple, I have been a fan, but at the moment, in that scenario, I hated you with all of my body. I was like, if I had an Android, I bet you I could say, hey, Google, and it would be fine. There's no reason Siri should not have understood me. There's no reason she was busted in that moment. I was annoyed as fuck. And so this is where patience came in, though I didn't really fully realize it at the time. All I knew was that, like, okay, feel it, feel the anxiety coming on. And I started noticing, what are the sensations in my body? Okay. Heart pounding, right? Sweaty palms, this nervousness. Okay. I'm thrilled right now. I'm going through a thrill. This is like when I get on a roller coaster, and I love roller coasters. Okay. Whew, here we go. Practicing that BDSM method that I taught you, right? That is what we're doing here. We're turning pain into pleasure. And that is what I recommend you do for any time you're feeling impatient, right? So story number one, again, y'all, I wanted to tell you all these things and didn't realize how on point they were for today's topic. This is so great. When you're feeling extremely high anxiety because you're feeling impatient about a solution coming, right? When someone you love is in danger, you are going to feel very impatient and probably super anxious is how that's going to kind of manifest in your body. Go back to that BDSM episode if you haven't listened to it. I'll give you the short version now, but go listen to the episode. Find the sensation in your body. Name it. Get specific on it. Does it have texture, shape, temperature, location? That should have been the first one. Location that you feel it in your body. And then notice where another scenario in your life you have felt the same physical sensations and it was actually okay or even pleasurable. So for many of you, that might be something like a roller coaster or a horror movie or a competition or sports, or I don't know, pick something. Maybe it's like, I had someone recently, we were doing this exercise and he was like, yeah, it's like when I climb up on a ladder and clean the top of my trailer. And I was like, okay, cool. Do you like doing that? He's like, yeah, it's all right. Like, great. Nervous up on the ladder. Just notice how the physical sensations, you're freaking out because it's awful and you want to get rid of it, but also it's something that you've willingly done before or even paid for, like a roller coaster, right? Like, I love that. Or skydiving. Yes, please sign me up. Whew, scare the shit out of me. I really want to go bungee jumping, y'all. Okay, I'm a thrill seeker, adrenaline junkie. Anyway, moving on. I'm walking there, right, with Gideon. I had to walk back to the house, enduring that sensation in my body, being okay with it, creating just love for it. And also knowing, like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not feel okay. Long story short, we ended up like getting him to the hospital. It's fine. He had to have a few inches, 3 inches actually, off his tail amputated, and he's like sewn back up now. He's got stitches and we're recovering pretty well. We're, still in the recovery process, but like he's totally fine. He just has to wear a cone, which is funny because he actually doesn't mind wearing it. He loves wearing things, you all. He's like his dad, like he puts on an outfit. It's an outfit for him. He willingly shoves his head through when I hold up the cone. It's so funny. I don't know anyone else, any other dog that does that. Okay. So that is scenario number 1 that I hadn't even planned on. Scenario number 2, the move. Oh my God, the move, you all. So I knew that the move was going to move quickly as soon as I found a place, because the available places in San Diego are fairly limited right now, and they're selling really, really, really quickly. Or, well, I'm renting, but they're like, they're finding renters really, really quickly because so many people are moving there. And so basically the way it works is like you get approved, and the approval is instant / sometimes as much as 24 hours, but like not more than that. And then they give you 24 hours to say, yes, I want the place, or no, I don't want the place. And then your move-in date is generally within the next week, like immediate, right? So I purposely did not put a whole lot of effort into the process at the beginning of March, because I knew that if I started putting in effort right away. There's a chance I could find a place, and then I'd have to move in March, and I wanted to stay through the end of March. One of the main reasons for that is because my best friend is giving birth it was supposed to be on March 30th. She still has not given birth yet. Hopefully by the time this episode airs, she will. But I wanted to stay here for the baby, right? So anyway, I'm applying, I'm looking for places, and I'm having trouble getting places. And then some places are scams. And then other places, they want someone to go in person. And so I'm organizing things with my local friends there to go in person. And then, let's see what happened. And then some of those aren't working. And then, I threw myself a going away party like 2-3 weeks ago, whatever. The timeline isn't important, but I threw myself a going away party. And then I was, in my mind, I was going to be moving the next day, right? So the going away party was on a Saturday. On Monday, a week after that, so like 9 days after the party, I was like, I'm leaving. I'm going to San Diego on April 4th or 3rd or 4th. I'll leave one of those days, and that's it. And I'll be able to find a place. And then the party came, and I hadn't found, I'm like all over the place here. So I knew that I wanted to move that first week of April. I was going to move on the 3rd or 4th. So like the last 2 weeks of March, I'm looking at places, I'm messaging places, I'm talking with landlords, I'm applying, I'm getting denied. I'm like doing all of the things. And then, the Friday, right, the day before my going away party, I said, okay, so things are falling through. That's okay. Let's go look at even more places. What else? How can I expand my search? Right. I'm starting to get impatient. I'm like, this needs to happen now. And I'm at my parents, and I'm like, what in the hell? This is so frustrating. And I don't know why. I just was so frustrated with the process, because I'm looking, and then there's nothing like in the areas that I want at the price that I want. And I'm like, ugh. And I remember I was sitting on my parents' couch, no joke, until I think like midnight or 1 a.m. I'm scrolling through everything on Facebook, and I'm messaging like everything that's possible. And I'm same on Craigslist. And like, at this point I was like, forget the normal apps like Rent.com and Hot Pads that were like I was using before. I'm like, I'm desperate. And it was like, when you're on Grindr and like what you're looking for, and then the night gets later and later and later, and you go, you know what, I can drop this desire. Oh, I can drop this other thing that I want. Okay. And you just keep widening your filters. You keep opening up yourself to new possibilities. You keep lowering your standards, however you want to say this. It's all the same thing. You just get more and more desperate, and you're like, I could hook up with him, I think. Yeah, maybe I could, right? And you just start messaging anyone and everyone. I was doing that with apartments. I was just messaging anyone and everyone. I'm like, oh, you having a listing? Hey, is this available? And I was so just decided that I had to move in a week. It was going to happen. I had decided it. I had told people it. It was fucking happening. And then at like 1 a.m., I'm like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I am frantically searching and tapping and sending messages, and I just need to go to sleep. I just need to sleep this off. Like there's no way I can get to a conclusion tonight. I keep thinking that there's something else I can do that will lead me to a conclusion, and there's not. How many times do you forget the same thing when you're getting really impatient? You keep thinking there's something else that you can do, and there's not. It just literally is not meant to happen in your timing. You can't do anything about it. And so I went to sleep, and the next day I woke up with a fresh brain and was like, oh, I know what I need to do. I'm just going to get an Airbnb in the area. And then I'll be able to move on the move date that I had set and had been kind of working out with my parents. And like, we can just get this done. Because my parents wanted to come with me, and because the drive is going to be, long. So I'm losing my train of thought here, y'all. Okay, so I have a plan, right? So I book an Airbnb, and then it's waiting to be approved. And then, meanwhile, another one that had said, no, they don't allow dogs, messages me and like gives me a tour of the place, and like a different place that she has that she does allow dogs, and it's okay, right? This must have been like a few days before the weekend, because I know that I was waiting. Those places were pending on the day of my party. Yeah. So I go to my party. Oh, that's right. Because I FaceTimed her right before my party. That's right. My God, y'all. It all fucking happened within 48 hours. It was insane. I had places that I thought I was going, and they fell through. And then I had these Airbnbs and was like, okay, I have an Airbnb that I've booked. It's waiting on approval. And then I have this other Airbnb that she said I can get into. I'm just, I have a plan and I have a backup. And so I go into this party having gone through a wave of like, yes, you're going. No, you're not. Yes, you're going. No, you're not. Yes, you're going. Because now you're going to get an Airbnb. And I'm like telling people, and it's great, blah, 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 blah. And the next day I wake up, the Airbnb that I had applied for did not get approved. And then I get a message from the backup one, and she says, actually, they don't allow dogs your size. I checked with the HOA. They don't allow dogs your size at this place. So I'm like, fuck. I literally had places like on Thursday that I thought I was getting into. Friday, I'm panic applying for places. Saturday, I have 2 Airbnbs. Sunday, I have nothing. I was so emotionally spent. I was frustrated. I was angry. I wanted to hit things. I wanted to throw things. I wanted to break things. I just want to be out there. I just want to be out there. I'm ready. I'm excited for it. And I just wanted it to happen. And I wanted it to happen now. And it didn't. And then I had no control over that, right? What was I going to do? So I canceled the U-Haul trailer and then put out a message on Instagram saying like, hey, let me know if you can help me, right? And then went along applying for places. And the craziest thing happened, y'all. Because that week I just decided, let's just let it be what it is. I don't know the timing. It's time to just be patient. And I looked for what reasons was I so certain that I needed to move now. And I'll tell you, I'm just going to tell you because I value this vulnerability, right? One of the reasons that I was really anxious to move is because y'all know I've been kind of dating someone that's out there in San Diego, and I really want to be with him in person. And I had this fear that he's going to lose interest if I don't hurry up and get out there. And I also just want to be with him in person so we can have hot, spicy, amazing sex. And so I can just be in his glorious, wonderful presence. I just want to be around him. I'm just so excited for that. I'm so thrilled. I just feel alive in his presence. And I don't want to wait any longer. I want it now. And so I realized that was a big reason as to why I was so impatient. And I decided, you know what? Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not, it's not. And I'll get out there when I get out there. And I was planning on moving before I even met him. So this move goes back to the original plan. This is for me. I want to move out there because this is the next step in my life path. And I trust that the universe would not have made it so clear to me that I needed to move to San Diego, that that was the next place for me to live. Like, the universe made that super clear last year. There's no reason why it would not also help things align for me in order for me to get out there. It doesn't make any sense. So stop controlling it, Alex, and just let it be. Coast with it. And again, I could feel all the feelings, right? So use that BDSM to get comfortable with the negative feelings. This goes back to my 3-step process. Be willing to be uncomfortable. Step number 1. Step 2, take action. Step 3, have your own back, right? All of patience is really that step 1. Be willing to be uncomfortable. And so BDSM, the metaphor that we've used here on the podcast, is so supportive for that. And we took that deeper too in the Confident as Fuck program. If you were in there, magic. That, by the way, is still available. If you want to get on that, you can. It's on my website. But the edging as well. Edging is another great tool here, right? Where you're kind of releasing the timing and you say, okay, universe, play with me. Dominate me, bitch. Let me sub for you. We're always kind of a sub for the universe. We just don't always want to recognize it, you know? But I did. I said, okay, I'm going to sub for you. You have your way with me. And let's make it the most thrilling, wild fucking ride ever. And I do love a thrill, you all. I love to be thrilled. And so I realized, you know what? That's why this move had to be so crazy. If it was just smooth and easy, I would have been bored out of my damn mind. I wanted it to be wild. I wanted it to be difficult. I wanted it to be a story worth telling. I wanted that roller coaster. Seriously, when I think back, that was the most tumultuous 48 hours of my life in months. And I kind of liked it in a way. It gave me the opportunity to get sympathy from people for, oh, it's not working. It gave me the opportunity to tell a story that was engaging and excited people and took them for a journey. It gave me an opportunity to feel like I was having a victory and then feel like I was failing and then feel back in the victory again. You love the pain that you keep trying to avoid. And you wouldn't get to have the up and down, the roller coaster, the thrill of life if everything happened in your timing. Be patient, just knowing that there's a reason, there's a better thing here. Even if the better thing is just that you have a better story to tell. And you don't have to enjoy it. Stop telling yourself you're doing something wrong when you don't enjoy it. I wasn't enjoying this, but I was enjoying not enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? I was okay with the fact that I wasn't enjoying it, and it was kind of all right. It was kind of turned into a hot, sexy, kinky experience with the universe and time. The other thing that I didn't know at the time was that my best friend's baby boy would be later than expected. And if I had stuck with those plans to use those one of the Airbnbs, I would have been gone already and I would have missed his birth. But instead, as it would as the universe would have things now, I'm going to be moving to a place that is the rent is cheaper than what I was planning on spending. So that's wonderful. I can, spend money on other things instead. It's going to be a really cool communal living space. So I'm going to get to meet a lot of people and form a community right away. I'm going to get to move at the end of the month. So that works out everything really easily with my current living situation and paying for the month of April. And then I'm out, right? And most importantly to me, I get to be here for my friend's birth. I wouldn't miss that for the world. And so I would still be here either way. I didn't know that it didn't make a difference. Those things just needed to fall through because I was going to be here one way or another. And the other beautiful thing is it gave me an opportunity to have a little extra time with my family and some close friends, just one-on-one. And it will for the remainder of the month. I'll get to have these really special one-on-one interactions. That's what's most special to me, is intimate time with my people. And I get to have that now. I don't have to be rushed. This experience is way better than the experience I had planned. And had things gone according to my plan, they would have been what they were, but they wouldn't have been this. And I see now on the other side, and literally only a week later, mind you, this shit can happen fast. As soon as I bottomed for the universe, as soon as I was a slutty sub-bottom for the universe and said, have your way with me, girl, now I'm seeing all the ways in which this is so, so perfect. Okay, so to kind of wrap things up. 1, use BDSM when you're in a situation when you are having a hard time being patient because you're feeling like really anxious, okay? Use it for any of those feelings you don't like. And then also incorporate the feeling of edging. Use the edging concept for patience anytime it's just not happening as fast as you want, and to allow yourself to enjoy the process of things happening versus your instant orgasm. Okay. If you haven't listened to those episodes yet, I highly recommend you go back and listen to them. BDSM and edging each have their own episodes, so you can use them to be more patient. All right. One other thing I want to do before we conclude today. Y'all responded to, I put out on Instagram stories a little post about that I was going to be doing this episode on patience, and asked for you all to weigh in on what did you want to know. So I'm just going to go through these in the order that they display on my screen. So perfectionism is one way. Someone said that it is, what was my question? I think it was like, why is it so hard for you to be patient? Perfectionism. Yeah. So this is perfect, right? I had a perfect plan for my move. I thought I did. But just remember that your plan is never as perfect as what will be. Your plan, as you see it in your head, is never as perfect as what will be. Notice your tendency. Perfectionism is control. Notice your tendency to try to take over control, and then use these concepts of turning the pain of the discomfort you feel when you have to be a sub. Use that, the BDSM concept, to turn your pain into pleasure. All right, uncertainty. Oh my God. Yes, uncertainty, right? That, because we think that that certainty even exists. Here's the truth, my friend. Uncertainty is the reality of life. There is no certainty other than knowing that you'll have your own back on the other side. That is the only thing that you can be certain about. You can be certain about how you will treat yourself. Are you going to be an asshole to yourself, or are you going to love yourself? Are you going to encourage yourself? Are you going to be a cheerleader for yourself? I decided each part along the way to find something I can encourage myself on. I encouraged myself with this move on, like, good for you, Alex, for being able to go through those 48 hours of hell, of real up and down. Good for you, Alex, for sitting back and having the self-awareness to figure out the reasons why you were so panicked about moving in a certain amount of time. Good for you, Alex, for practicing what you preach. And good for you, Alex, for going and finding, I ended up finding some neat things out through this. For example, I found that you could get a task rabbit to go to a showing for you. So that meant some of the places that had showings, or they would only let you apply if you came in person, Part of the reason I was thinking about getting an Airbnb out there was because I thought, okay, I can get the Airbnb and then I can go to these places in person, right? Because they didn't want to do FaceTime with me. Okay, well, you can get a TaskRabbit to go to the place for you, and then the TaskRabbit can FaceTime you. How cool is that? So I was like, good for me for figuring out new ways. I don't have to be tied down to operating in any specific way, right? That's pretty damn cool. I can be self-sufficient. I can figure it out. Good for me. So those are the ways that you can introduce certainty there. All right, so let's see. Entitlement. Oh my God. Yes. Entitlement, thinking that you know what's best, right? And here we are. I just look at my story. I thought I knew what was best, and it really would have sucked if things had gone my way. I would have missed out on a wonderful time getting to meet my friend's baby when she gives birth and having a few extra weeks here, in fact, to see him and get to be his gunkle. All right. When you know what's best for me, when I know what's best for me, but things don't align quickly and I have to stay treading water. Yeah. So think about, for that, you don't really know what's best for you. There's always a better plan, and you can always find ways that that's true when it happens. You can always look for evidence. Usually it's a little bit of hindsight. And you don't, that treading water, that's not a bad thing, my friend. I bet you that you love treading water like I do, because you get to tell that thrilling story. You get to have that kind of roller coaster skydiving experience of things not going smoothly. Next one. I think it's always believing there's something wrong. It's like reality bitch slapping us back into submission when we forget that it's our job to control and not control. And when we forget it's all for fun. Yes, life is all for fun. That's so true. I'm so glad you added this, JC, on Instagram. Yeah, it is that, like, the universe, life bitch slaps us and it's like, look, bitch, you get to control and you also get to give up control. Have fun with this dom and sub power play that we are all in with the universe and with each other. It can be a fun game if you recognize it as such. And then the last response I had here was, I hate the process, the journey. Fuck the journey. I want to go get there already. Yes, right? I'm thinking the same thing about my move. I want to get there already because life is going to be so much better. It will. Look, it's going to be better in a whole lot of ways. And it also is going to suck still in a whole lot of ways. It's going to suck in new ways there. Don't know what all those ways are yet. I'll tell you when I get there. But just remember that life is not sunshine and rainbows anywhere. Life is always a mix of good and awful. Like the yin yang, the shit my parents wouldn't let me have. It was like a thing in the Christian community. They were like, the yin and yang is like evil and it's wrong. It's saying good and evil are equal. They are. Good and evil are equal. They are in a dance. They can't exist without the other. Like, they literally need each other in order to stand out. If everything were just good, it would just be gray. Or everything just evil would just be gray. We need the contrast of good and evil in life. We need the contrast of enjoyment and pain. One cannot exist without the other. They are both needed. And both of them are somehow also the same. Again, going back to that BDSM concept, finding pain in pleasure, there you can find pleasure. Sorry. BDSM concept, finding pleasure in pain. There we go. You can find pleasure in pain. Going to the physical sensations, you can always find how that physical reaction your body is having from anxiety or fear or anger or frustration or impatience is just like a physical sensation you have that is pleasurable. All right, my friends, my unicorns, this concludes today's episode. If you are ready to take this work deeper and apply it and see every nook and cranny of your life align with what you've been wishing for deeply in your soul, come work with me. This is what I will help you do every day till it is your new normal and you embody what it means to be a confident queer. You know how to reach me. I'll see you very soon. Until then, have a wonderful week, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend so they too can become more confident. You can also help more people find the show by leaving a 5-star review wherever you listen. And if you want to become a more confident queer with support from yours truly, head to coachalexray.com or use the link down in the show notes. I'm looking forward to working with you.